This is the brand spanking new Honda Passport. If you find the CR-V too small and the Pilot too big, then Honda hopes that this new Passport will keep you in their showroom instead of going off to buy something like a Ford Edge or Jeep Grand Cherokee instead. Passport starts at $42,000, a bit more than the larger Pilot on which it is heavily based, though unlike that larger Pilot, Passport has no base model trim grade, so you're starting at $42,000 in sport trim, and then it's up to the EXL or the top line Touring, like my Tester, which clocked in at $49,000 and came with basically everything. And loyal Honda shoppers looking to upgrade or maybe downsize into something about this big will feel right at home very quickly. And if this is your first new crossover ever, well, it stacks up pretty nicely as well, depending on what you're after. Thankfully, and as expected, all Honda crossover traits are alive and well here, including storage, and more storage, bins and consoles and deep cubbies and dividers. Even the biggest pack rats among us will find a place to keep everything organized and tidy. The center console storage bin is so big it even has a drawer inside. The rear doors have 2 cup holders each. The center stack has a perfect slot for your wallet or cell phone. The list goes on. You will not believe the amount of handy storage in here, and that's just what Honda crossover shoppers expect. They also expect something that tends to feel even roomier than it looks, and mission accomplished here as well. Passport, by making the best possible use of the space between its bumpers, does a very good job of making you feel like you're surrounded by room to spare. Second row seating is easily accessed, easily slid fore and aft to balance out legroom against cargo volume behind. They recline and power fold, and everything is very easy to set up to the task at hand. No problem in the back for 2 big adults, no problem behind them for all of their gear. The cargo hold is generous, there's even more storage beneath the rear floor, and if it's you, the other half, and another couple off for a camping trip, you'll have all the space you need for people and their things. The power tailgate is also handy, though some smaller dogs may find the jump in height is a little too tall. Most humans will find minimal issue with entry or exit. You pretty much just slide sideways and into your seat, not much climbing up or plopping down required. These accessory running boards might be useful for some, though I just found they mostly got in the way because I'm not 4. Headroom looks something like this. Not cramped in any dimension at all. Something just fell off my camera. From the driver's seat, some of us might wish for a bit more color or flair. On one hand, there's a new instrument cluster, and finally, a new and modern touchscreen interface. On the other hand, lots of what you see in here is just dark and black, and most of the controls and switches and stocks and interfaces are straight out of any other Honda built in the past 5 years or so. So coming to Passport from a few-year-old Honda means you'll feel right at home very quickly, though if you want the interior of your brand new $49,000 crossover to blow your socks off, you do have better options. Or maybe you like simple and logical and don't like learning new things, in which case you will be just fine. Mostly there's little complication to quickly find and operate whatever you're looking to do in here. After a few minutes familiarizing yourself with everything, almost nothing in here will cause you any stress, though I will note that the central touchscreen interface might seem a bit too complicated or fussy as you learn it. It was about 3 days before I stopped swearing at it. Still, it is a big improvement where graphics and functionality are concerned. There's even Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and a built-in Wi-Fi hotspot. That's backed by numerous power ports to keep those tablets and smartphones juiced. It's typical Honda where outward visibility is concerned too. Glass is tall and abundant, the rear window is minivan-like, wide and tall and stretched to the edges. The driving position sits up high but not towering. It's a very commanding position backed by above average outward visibility. All Passports run this 3.5-liter 280 horsepower VTEC V6 engine. Work it gently and you'll barely know this engine is doing a thing. Just note that the throttle can be very lazy. That's to help you save fuel, and the leisurely, light-footed drivers will find this just fine. If you've got a heavier foot, don't be afraid to use it, ideally with sport mode and plenty of revs. It can take a mighty smash on the throttle to get that V6 out of bed, but when it does, performance is generally pleasing and the engine shows off a familiar family growl as the revs climb and the VTEC kicks in, and it sounds sounds lovely, not that that matters. Enhancing the smoothness and thriftiness of the performance is a 9-speed automatic with push-button shift, and there's all-wheel drive, which Honda calls intelligent variable torque management. If you need to, click this button to summon various terrain-specific off-road modes. Beyond that, this all-wheel drive system requires absolutely none of your attention ever. At times, some drivers may find the ride a touch too firm, though others will appreciate that it never feels like a floated four-wheeled manatee. On smooth highways, it's mostly smooth sailing, and this one feels largely car-like, almost as if you're just driving a big, tall Honda Accord. Steering is nice and light for parking, heavies up at highway speeds for added confidence. Some drivers will wish for just a touch more weight to the steering on the highway to help lock Passport more firmly into its lane. Brakes deliver average pedal action, though stopping power is generally delivered urgently and without much drama. Supporting the $49,000 asking price, Passport Touring includes such goodies as remote start, climate-controlled leather seating, a 550-watt stereo, navigation, wireless phone recharging, and little short of everything Honda has to offer on the safety front, including adaptive cruise, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, auto high beams, blind spot monitoring, and more. Any more self-aware, they'd have to include a birth certificate. And all of that safety gear is easy to switch on and off if you'd like to learn how the systems work at your own pace. I do have one additional gripe before we finish, and it is the off-road ride. On rougher trails or camp roads, you've definitely got some smoother riding options. My favorite are the Toyota 4Runner and Jeep Grand Cherokee. Passport just does its best work on pavement. Rougher surfaces like these can coax out more harshness and unwanted noise from the suspension and even the steering than I like. End of the day, here's a machine that ticks most of the right boxes, especially if handy storage galore, a pleasant driveline, plenty of advanced safety feature content, and maybe especially plenty of highly usable space are high on your list of priorities. If you're driving this, be sure to try the Edge, Murano, and all-new Hyundai Santa Fe as well. Thanks for watching. And with that, I will finish with this. I'm asked all the time, what is the best crossover? And the answer, in my opinion, is that there is no such thing as the best or the worst here. Rather, it's all about which of the many options you have in a crossover today that will best meet your specific needs and tastes and lifestyle. So finding the best one for you is all about getting out there and driving as many options as you can. And in that process, make sure you drive this. Honda sells a lot of crossovers after all, and largely that's thanks to many of the core attributes they build into them, and you'll find all of those right here. I'm Justin Pritchard.